Welcome to the CERIAS Security Seminar for February 11th, 2009. Today I'm proud to introduce Dr. Mehmet Şahinoglu, who is Director of the Informatics Institute, in fact the founding Director of the Informatics Institute at Auburn University. Dr. Şahinoglu has a long and distinguished career, starting with the, I need to, which? You need, yes. Plug in. Has a long and distinguished career in, whoops, I need to figure out where you need to. Okay. A long and distinguished career, starting out with teaching for several years and at his alma mater in his native Turkey before coming to the United States and teaching at Purdue University for a period of time. Then going on to lead computer science at Troy University, and I think a couple of other places in there before taking his current position just recently starting at Auburn. He's also author of a book on trustworthy computing, which may interest many of you. So anyway, he will talk to us today about techniques for security and privacy risk assessment.
I am honored to be here again at Purdue at 10-year intervals. I was here in 89, then 98, and then back again in 10 years back again for a conference, a talk as part of the CERIAS seminars. Thank you very much to CERIAS for inviting me. And before I start, I also thank people at Auburn Montgomery watching me, and Vice Chancellor Dr. Warren, and instructor, my wife Suna Şahinoglu, and hello to them. I can see them from here, which is nice. Since this talk will be taped, and other people will be able to look at it in the future. What I'll do in this 15-minute talk, I have 3 compartments in this talk. The first compartment will be just going through the slides and telling you what I have been doing and where it led to with the security meter demo. And I'll do the first part of demo, part A, and the part B, which is sort of like user-oriented, preserving privacy. If people want to do this without the analyst or computer program getting involved, what should they do? By the way, there's a strong connection between Purdue and Auburn in the sense, if you don't know, somebody were asking me what was Purdue, what was Auburn. It's Auburn University, Montgomery campus we're at, and also Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama. As you know, Professor James Hansen, the only book, biography of your Purdue hero, Neil Armstrong, was written by Professor James Hansen. So, and if you didn't read the book, it's a great book, so you should read it. Anyway, let me just connect with you on this topic, and the goal is actually how do you quantify risk of security and privacy, the 2 pillars of the trustworthy computing, and also how do you quantify other risks like electronic voting or eco risk or wireless and things like that. But we'll first start with the most important one of the security domain. Now, why would I do that? Why would somebody do something like this? First of all, a lot of people are interested in finding out what their privacy or what their security risks are when they sit in front of a computer in the morning. Like, all of you, when you connect with your computer in the morning, whenever you see a temperature like 81 degrees, that's rare, I know, but by us, 81, 85, 90, you always see a temperature. And wouldn't you like to see an indicator of how bad or how good your computer software security risk is? So, and not only you see what it is, but would you like to do something about it, self-sufficiently, without going and paying all that money to the nearest company? Anyway, the motivation behind the security model is the quantitative risk measurements are pervasive, needed to compare alternatives in terms of dollars, And in the present time, there are no such quantitative and probabilistic measures. Those which exist work with high, medium, low, and they're not systemically all around. They are not ready to tell you in a consistent manner. However, those don't add up, correctly, and some of them, like attack trees, are so large and in terms of, and they go out of bounds. Well, the proposed MathStat model is going to do that for us, and it has a security meter probability model which is in the center, and then you have your constants and you have your probabilistic inputs, and then you have an output. Well, I'm going to show you how this is done later on in terms of a demo. So my goal is really, since we start around 4:38, 4:40, do the first 15 minutes, these slides, just go as conveniently fast as I can, and then go to the demo. I don't want to have not have any time for the demo. So this is the tree diagram. You can see that there are vulnerabilities, list of threats for each vulnerability, and then residual risk, and then lack of countermeasure or countermeasure for that very threat. For example, you may have network for vulnerability, which is true, and you may have you may have email network, which is part of the network vulnerability, and T1 you may have viruses, and then for countermeasure you may have a virus, antivirus program, or for hacking you may have firewall, things like that. So at the end, the residual risks are here on that branches where lack of countermeasure sits. And you add them up, you find your total residual risk. Okay, now all these, there are laws that are here consistently applied. The sum of vulnerabilities have to add up to 1. Sum of threats for each vulnerability have to add up to 1. It's like an exhaustive style of forming this tree diagram. And the sum of lack of countermeasure and countermeasure add up to 1. Now, I just want to go ahead with an example that was centered around Northern Virginia Regional Computer Center for an $8,000 asset. That's also a paper that was published, and I gave you that paper. It's in front of you. If you want to look at it, please. The IEEE paper. The very first initials were done in another paper on privacy security. You have that, and this one, last one is 2008. Now, what happened is this student who was a PhD student, she collected in a different university in the north, collected all these surveys on countermeasures. So these are all countermeasure results on the right, and then she collected also. Obviously, I can't do my laser, but you can see it's on the right side. And then next, she collected all the information on T threat. What I did, I classified them as threats, and and lastly, your vulnerabilities. So, and there's something called criticality. Now, criticality is, if it's like a nuclear power plant, your criticality is 100%. If it's something less than that, there are degrees. But in this work, we took 0.4, but in the demo, I'll take it 100% needed, critical, for sake of convenience. So you can see that after the survey, all the data available, I can put all the stuff here in the security meter chart, spreadsheet, and that way I have all these values found by a survey, right? So, and before I go and do the study with you, how to crunch the security meter machine, and how to get the results, I want to work on a little bit on game theory, because game theory is going to be essential in this study on how to optimize my existing system to a new system so that I can get the optimal mitigations and in cost-wise as well. So I will not dwell on this too long, but the game theoretic approach for companies, businesses like firm A versus firm B in a two-player zero-sum game. You have company A versus B. Like A is like offense on the offense, B is on the defense. What B wants to do, being on the defense, wants to minimize its losses, and A wants to maximize its gains. So there's a minimax thing here going on, and we don't have time for that. You can study it. It's in the paper. It's in the well, this will be on the web too. You can look at it. But in the long run, what they want to do is they want to have a strategy of, what to do about advertising, quantity discounts, and extended warranty, so that B on the defensive can minimize his loss. And so you can take that B to be like our defense against the vulnerabilities, threats, and hackers and crackers and all those bad guys. B is the countermeasure. B is the countermeasure. A is the bad guys. So, and you do this in a business environment, and you get the results. And you come up with a solution. Now, in a risk adversarial problem, where you can see that on the left side we have the defensive stockpile, biosurveillance, first responders, mass inoculation. In the payoff matrix, a smallpox example that Duke University carried some few years, well, about 8-10 years back during the anthrax problem, or something similar to that. And these are solutions, countermeasures: no attack, minor attack, major attack. So you see the columns are defense and rows are offensive. The history of game theory, and today, it all started in almost 100 years ago by von Neumann and others, Nash from the Beautiful Mind, and Aumann. And so U.S. in all these studies wants to pick the defense with the smallest row-wise maximum, and terrorist picks the attack with the largest column-wise maximum. Yeah. How do we adapt this idea to our security meter? You can see that on the left we have vulnerabilities and threats and as rows, and columns are countermeasures. I cannot control vulnerabilities and threats. They come from the enemies or from the nature. I can control my countermeasures. So, and this whole matrix that you see here is innovative. It hasn't been done before. This is what is the core of the problem here for the game theory approach, and it's like the Koch formula, as they say. So, what happens is when you bring the matrix, the game theoretical matrix into this format, and you want to put it into your, you want to apply the optimization techniques like linear or nonlinear programming techniques. So, and after you do this linear nonlinear, you end up with a new countermeasure result. So here is a result that you see from a security meter table. On the left, you have your base server. On the right, you have improved server. All right, so what we did, we went from 26% down to 10%. Well, who did this? Well, game theory was instrumental here in picking what changes where. So changes in the first leg, and sometime later on another leg here. So these changes add up to 90% change, 0.9 out of 1 out of 100. This is the least change you can get. This is the optimal amount of change for the money's worth. So you went from an $833 expected cost loss down to $320 cost loss, and in between, you lowered your expected cost of loss by $513. Where did that money go? That money went to spending these on the right, on the cost column, to companies which will cater for you, which will give you the service to reduce your cost from a 26% to that 10%. So this is optimization process. We will elaborate on that in a demo format just very soon. Now, we also can do nonlinear minimization of the portfolio variance. Statistics speaking, we can do variance approach now and follow Markowitz nonlinear optimization solution using Lingo software. Now, Markowitz won a Nobel Award, a Nobel laureate. He was a Nobel laureate. He was a Nobel Prize for his techniques in economics, but he couldn't have won one for this study because his Markowitz application to portfolio approach by us in this study gave worse results than the linear optimization. So not everything has to be, fitting everybody else just because his economics, problems gave good results. So in there we have 309% as opposed to 90%. So nonlinear portfolio risk table did not give me good results. I was checking that. I had 90.5% change as opposed to 309% change. So which one is better? Obviously, the game theory linear programming that I came up with is far better than the portfolio nonlinear Markowitz approach. So I just wanted to check this in case I didn't try out my other chances. So I'm going to do some applications on this and we'll show you a demo. And so what we're doing is we have a cost, we were trying to optimize the cost effort to countermeasure, to optimize the countermeasure against the common enemies, such as hackers, crackers, viruses, horses, and worms, and cobras. Well, you've never heard of Cobra. It's a new strangler virus. Need antivenom software. Don't believe that. Cobra is not a new virus. It's a joke because people are coming with all these new names of cobras and things and does this and that. So anyway, and but you never surprised. After I do this, by just hearsay, and you'll have in a year a new virus which is named Cobra. You never know. But for the time being, it doesn't exist. So when you do all this study, security meter, and come up with results, you will see that at the end of the study, not only, like I showed you before, not only you'll get the base server and improved server, but you'll also get a bunch of advices on the right. How to do what? In order to reduce from 26% originally to 10%, what you're doing is, as a user, if you were at home sitting and you have these programs, for example, as a product that came in front of you one day, you never know, as a product, and you can optimize your risk from the already existing bad to the good what you desire for amount of money you want to spend and what to do about it. I will show you the demo. Now, further research here, I'm going to show you how to run this program and show you that a common user who doesn't have to know all that part, most of you may be well learned in computers or internet, but some of the people at home are using this just to email friends and to their friends. And so, but if they have problems, they don't have money at this time to go and repair it, what can they do about it? So I will show you how to run this program, how to do that, and we'll apply a few domains. Like we'll look at the security problem, we'll look at the privacy problem. These are the two pillars of trustworthy computing. I'm working on now e-voting, eco-risk, and wireless. As a matter of fact, usability is the next step that we want to work on. Now, so what do I mean by security risk tree diagram? You've seen the simple ones I've shown you earlier, but here's a very complicated looking, actually all around hardware, network, environment, web applications. It took us months and months to come up with this study. It's not like overnight and you just go there and pick up something up in the air. So these are not final. A company, like I go to a bank and bank wants to change this. He wants to add his own. They want to add their own vulnerabilities and threats or countermeasures. They can do so. I have another mobile external intervention program which I'll show you, which kind of keeps the privacy, preserves the privacy within the company without me as an analyst getting involved. So this is security risk diagram. You see all kinds of possibilities. And then you have the privacy risk tree diagram. So I want to also study the privacy, which is a different pillar. You see, according to the new definition, there are 4 pillars of the trustworthy computing. That's privacy, security, reliability, and usability. And Microsoft also included business practices. Now, there's another one I recently started working on, e-voting risk tree diagram. I've been told that Purdue CERIAS does have some work going on in e-voting. So that came up after the elections. For example, I went to the election site and I was supposed to vote, and they couldn't find my name, last name, first name, and my last name, first name were all mixed up. And my family was there before. I said, "What's wrong?" So I went and saw that they mixed it up because they didn't know too well Turkish. So so that they don't have to. But so these are all problems. Like anyway, at the end, you can work with these problems and come up with a risk, and then do what to mitigate the risk, and for what, how much. And another one is eco risk. Ecological risk is very new. We had a assistant professor from Air Force University, Air War University, actually Professor Gene Spafford, the CERIAS director, is a board member, and he's also going to be board member on our informatics institute. And these people are very much interested in eco risk. So I came up with this new idea of eco risk. Well, how can you do the tree diagram? So I'll show you some of these examples. Not all of them are, but now the rest, the new ones, the usability and as well as wireless is pending. Okay, well, if you can email me for further questions, scientific contributions are always welcome. You can all discuss about these. Now I'm going to come out of here and then go to my demos, all right? So hopefully this will work. I have the security A version that I'll first demo here today is going to be built on all the stuff that I just showed you. And actually I have, let's see, if we start with 4:30, 20 minutes. I will do this in 15 minutes on the first part, and then another 15 minutes in the latest version of the demo, where you preserve your privacy of the company. So I want to give you this first. You know, when you have a lot of good data, input data, then with more data, you can do more things. But if you don't have data, what do you do? So here we're going to start from most informative data-wise to least informative. So there are times when you can go, like in the example of University of Virginia Computer Center, okay, where I had the results. You remember I had 0.35 for vulnerability, 0.26 vulnerability, 2.39 V3. So if I carry on with all these values that I have, and $8,000 total, all right, then I can come up with this results table, and 26% if you remember, and I can optimize this, all right, as I've done before. Well, it's thinking I shouldn't do that. It got stuck somewhere. Okay, I don't know why it's doing this. Are you also seeing the sand clock? Yep. Yeah, and it shouldn't do the sand clock because it's not a good sign. I'm not supposed to have that. So in a different environment, the what? I don't know why it's doing this. Okay, well, we're not supposed to have this. This send. We're not supposed to have this because it's not letting me do anything now. All right. I have to log off and come back. Sorry about that. It's just beyond my control. But all right. Oh, good. We're back to business. All right. Okay. So all the things I've shown you by now on the slides, I can do these things like in the security program here, demo. But you can see that direct, sample, and sim, the first three, those are numerical inputs. If you have the numerical inputs, you can put them and enjoy them, and either simulation, lower and upper values, or you can either do sample. Like with sample is you can work retroactively, suppose you had 100. So suppose you had 100 attacks. 98 of them were denials. Two of them were like penetrations. 98 saves, 2 crashes. So you can go backwards, and by all this information, you can find the results, and then for 940 total attacks, this is the model. But your company may say, well, we're not planning, but we're anticipating to have 1,500 attacks next year. So then if you click this, you will see the other 1,500, how many of them will come where, which attacks will be where, and how many saves, how many crashes. So build on the same model, and I can still do the same work. Now, all right. Why would it do that? Why would it just use do the send clock? I don't know, but it's not supposed to do it. Okay. All right. Let me go to Chris. Why would it do it?
Are you expecting to? Is this running over the web? Is this supposed
No.
to be running over network?
It's not running over the net. It's running in my computer program,
Okay.
and it's self-sufficient with Java Runtime 5.
Yeah.
Okay, but it shouldn't do this. Why would it do that? Is it connected to the power? Yes. All right. Okay, let me come to the questions, and if I can click this. All right, now this time, if I don't have any numerical data to begin with, all right, statistically speaking, statisticians always prefer more data than less data because of information content. Our engineers call it, also Shannon's information. So you have a lot of information, you use it. If you don't have the information, if the end user, common user at the end of the line doesn't know what an upper lower bound is and what is, what all these vulnerabilities and all that stuff. So what do you do now? Then, well, you go to you select the load. I mean, so what you do is you start asking questions to people. So so I'm going to start the security. You remember this security diagram I had? Network, environment, hardware. I also had web applications. I don't have time for the web applications, but let's have these 3 vulnerabilities. And so I'm sitting here, at my house, and I want to know what security risk measure I have for my computer that I'm using, and I can go ahead and answer these questions. Suppose that I don't have time to do that all that, but suppose it has been done for you before. Okay, so I've clicked all these, and I asked the person, does the computer take a long time to boot or shut down? Yes, I click. And then you also have a confidence question. Do you think you have a hard drive crash threat for hardware vulnerability? Confidence, it's full. If you have full confidence, that's a threat. You put 10. If in the middle, you put 5. So again, instead of you giving me data, I am extracting it from you by force, by asking questions. Okay. So let's continue with this. And I have no idea why sand clock is just there. Keep going. All right. And suppose that I answered all these questions for you, and you answered it for me or for yourself. At the end, I'm using criticality 1, and equipment cost could be 1,000, but for the job you're doing, you may lose a ripple effect, a shadow cost of 7,000, a total of 8,000. All right. So you're losing $4,900. Well, in the end, you have 61% risk. Now, this is elaborated. But it's what came out. That's 61, and people. I have known people who told me, yes, I have 60% risk. So what's going to happen? Don't worry, he said. And these students next day they came to me. They told me they had a crash because they didn't have firewalls, and so it's like it was an indication for them. So I optimized this. I want to go from 61% down to, say, 30%. All right. I okay this with my sun clock, and then I come up with an advice list, right? Now this advice list shows to you what to do to go from a 61% risk down to 30% risk. All right? Now, I'm ready to start doing something about my computer. Right? Take countermeasures. Well, the money is involved. Nobody has infinite amount of money. Okay? So I go and look at my threads. You know, I have hardware. I have these 3 threads that they gave me, that the program gave me to advise me. What I should do is I should go back and look at them one by one. I go and see hardware. I see what they are. I study this. I look at the no's. I said no for I should change them to yeses. How could I do to change those no's to yeses to build my confidence measure to perfection? And then I can go to the other one. I can go to the thread advice and go to hardware, and see my my no's. I mean ends. I don't want those ends. I should do something about it. Or I could go to the third one, which is in the environment. Now, after I study these things and I have a plan to continue to and I go and search the gadget costs and monies and everything, I can start acting. Okay, because of sometimes they have this rule, you have to work first the firewalls and start with network, because that's the first step you should do. So there are questions here. You want to spend money for all these things, okay? You start putting, like, I'm just going to do that randomly because we don't have time. The update the email well, to do that, I buy a new program, $100, all right? And do you have antivirus software? I don't have that, but I want to buy it. $200. All right, I go and check. And do you enforce password policy? No, I don't, but there's a program that I know that does that. Okay, do you use to calculate final cost? No, I want to first, no. I said no. Okay, so it's $350 so far. Well, I want to go to the next one, change unit cost. All right, then I want to work on hardware accidental data loss. And then, some of them don't need money, and so some of them need money. I'm just going to just pick something out of the blue sky and just to continue, and $500 and others, and I don't need money for that, so to spend, well, let's say $50 here. All right, so I have $850 there. Do you calculate at this time? Not yet, and I have the third one left. So I go to change unit cost and work with the environment. Well, ask me to buy some uninterrupted power supplies and things like that. Let's start working on this. And sorry, okay, I should say $600. All right, and do you have a temperature alarm? Another $400, stuff like that. So all right. Well, not, but we can. I'm just putting this cost just to cover something. Do we find cost? Yes. You see, at the end, I said yes. So do you see what I have here? Oh, that's a coincidence. I didn't mean that. I was short. I spent $2,500 as opposed to $2,506. I had contingency for $2,506. I spent $2,500. I'm okay. I can go ahead with this plan. But sometimes, if you don't have that amount of money, $2,506, you can change your cost here, and you can change your total cost from $2,506 down to, if you want, $2,000. All right. Now, if you do that $2,000, and you're going to have $2,000, then you have to abide by the new realities. So here, we just don't show you what to do things and how to do them and how much money you're needing to reduce your the risk from an earlier bad one to a good one that you desire. Okay, so I will. Okay, by the way, if you click show where you are in the security, it will give you the security diagram, what things you went through. All right, now I'm going to go from here to security B, and with my sand clock cursor. That's interesting. All right, so close. All right, security B. Now this is, oops, I never had this happen to me before, but everything happens for the first time someday. All right, this time, the same things that you've seen in a product form when I demoed to you to reduce your risk from a certain By the way, I didn't have time to go to privacy. I mean, you can do the same thing for the privacy tree diagram and come up with results and tell you what to do about the privacy of a bank, for example. And where we keep the security points different from the privacy points, there are very few overlaps. So here's the survey, all right? I go to the survey part, and I select the survey. Let's see, this is the new one I have. E-voting survey, all right? And I want to edit it, all right? So you see, I have all these vulnerabilities for the e-voting. Machines, voters, electoral personnel, poll watchers, fraud, structure, weather, catastrophes, so on and so forth. I want to add a new one. I can go and add new, all right? And then I don't like this little, and I want to delete it. I can go and delete it, all right? So you see, what I'm doing is, this is the information I have there is not cut and dried. I can change them as I go. So, and I can edit like standard machines. I can edit from machines to, something else. Like, instead of machines, I'll say just machine, without S, right? If I say okay, and it will become machine. See, it was machines and it became machine now. And I can see what questions is under machine. These are your vulnerability questions. Again, I can add, edit, delete. All right, you can go back. So what are the threats under machine? So threats are these. So I can go and look at these questions, and I could do all the editing, deleting, adding, all that stuff. And I can look at CM countermeasure questions. All the stuff that you've seen earlier, I can do changes as I like. All right? And customize it for my company or for myself. All right? It doesn't have to be the way you bought it. Okay, suppose that you bought this instrument, this software, and you're working on it. All right? Now, or you obtained it from the web. Okay? So, I want to show you something interesting now. Suppose that you want to do this wholesale, not step by step, but wholesale. Here's the XML file. That's the new novelty we have. What we have is here, you have all these questions from the very beginning. Instead of writing down, in a Word format, you write in XML format. Here's help. How do you do this? Well, this is the instructions. I think it looks like it's shifted too much to the left. So you've got all these instructions on how to do the XML. So instead of your programmer or somebody else doing this for you, you can do this yourself and plug it in. And then look at all these e-voting questions I have. Suppose that I want to change these questions, right? And like I'm just doing something like very easy. I'm putting 2 spaces for the question marks, right? So I put the 2 question marks, 2 spaces. And I say save. I come back and I look at the e-voting survey. I load it, all right? And I look at, okay, and continue previous survey attempt. Yes, previous. Start. Okay, and look at the questions for machine. Look at those first question marks. I got 2 spaces which didn't exist. So I put more space between the question and the question mark. So what does that tell you? I mean, if you got hold of this program by some means in the future, and you want to use it for your computer, but you're not happy, you have your own questions to answer, to ask yourself. You can go and use the XML file and modify it and come back, and this preserves the privacy. If the bank wants to do this, bank doesn't want to have to call me anymore. So as long as you have the crunching machine in the black box that does the security meter, you're okay. What I mean by that is if I change these questions and say I click whatever, it doesn't matter what I clicked, I just did it out of blue sky. And this is the voting problem, e-voting problem, and I've done this at the end, it's a long one, and I put again $8,000, but it's more, I mean, you lose more than $8,000 if voting risk, e-voting problem, you lose a whole election sometimes, that's, the cost, I don't know what to put for cost. Well, you can put anything you like, but, so at the present time, state of Alabama is like working on this. They have a commission for $850,000 grant that University of Southern Alabama and Mobile got. I know you're not familiar with those names, universities in the South, and I'm sure you know Auburn University's football team, or University of Alabama's, but there are pretty strong colleges in the South who will work on these topics. Okay, you calculate the risk, and it's 50% risk. You want to optimize this e-voting down to 30%. Okay, you do your optimization, you come up with results. Now, the reason I'm doing this e-voting risk is because it's very recent, and everybody's worried about electric machines. Okay, the value is not a reasonable target. I think I did something wrong. 50. Okay, I put 50 again. Well, I should have. I don't know. I thought I put 30. All right, here's 30%. Because from 50.63 down to 50 didn't make sense for the problem. All right, please try with a different target. And okay, I don't know what's going on, but well, what I'll do is I'll work with the other one. Something this worked this morning. I was, but not doing it now. But okay, I will just show you the privacy portion. Privacy. Okay, suppose no. All right, suppose I want to do the privacy part. Privacy, I load something which is continue, previous survey that there is none, and start. Okay, so I can click all these and come up with a privacy result, right? Well, since there's none here, I will go back to security A, because I've been talking about the privacy so much that I want to show you one. Privacy questions, all right? Select the file load, full example, privacy. Sorry, full example. Okay, again, with my sand clock cursor, which I never had in my, did anybody have sand clock as a cursor before? Well, I'm having it now. So it's a new, okay, well, all right. Now I don't have something ready for you because it will take time. But let me go to. All right. Let's see. Full example. Back. Select the file. All right. Well, I don't have the privacy example which is clicked. Well, actually, that brings the demo to the end. So what I did today with you, and thank you for your patience. What I did together with you is I started showing you. I started my talk with the bunch of 35 slides where it shows you from the beginning to the end how the project got started, what kind of developments it enjoyed, and then how we incorporated the game theory, usually used in business models to a security. Well, they're now starting to use game theory in security problems. But when you look at all these books, they're all theoretical. I mean, there are a lot of theory in it, and you got to be a mathematician to understand what that gave. Here is a layman's result. As an engineer and statistician myself with different backgrounds, interdisciplinary background, I am acting here as a person, a hybrid person, to see the results from an engineering viewpoint as well as from a statistical viewpoint. So, and then you can come up with these results. Okay, I showed you a demo on security, e-voting, and privacy, and where you not only can change the questions, nature of the questions and threats and all that kind of thing, countermeasures inside the program, you can come outside and do an XML and come back. Okay? So, well, with the limitation I had today with all this sad clock, which is kind of limiting me from acting comfortably, I think that's the best I can do. But I will ask around why sad clock would appear instead of just a good old cursor. All right, let's see. No, I thought, no, it's not there. Okay, so I am done, and this is all I will present today. I may have confused you a lot, but all through my student life, I've been confused many times, and I think it's like a maze. You get out of the confusion if you would like to. If you like the topic, if you want to learn about it and are interested in it, there's always a way. So if you are interested in acquiring a book, the book is in your library, I'm sure. You can go there, and there's a CD-ROM at the end. The CD-ROM has all these results there, and you can use them. As well as you can go to my website, and which is given in the as well as in the back of the book, and it's also in the papers. Thank you again for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them. I believe you are most of you from engineering and as well as business or science. Like we have here about how many? 25 people? Am I right? 20?
We have people from pretty much throughout campus, so a wide variety of disciplines.
Right.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you for your attendance. Any questions that I can answer for you? Yes, sir.
You got calculation, then you calculate how much percentage for the final result, right?
Say that again, sorry.
At the beginning, I saw you input some data like 50%, 30%. How you work out that kind of
that's
data?
a guesswork. It's a guess.
Okay.
Say that your result is 60%. You want to go down to 30%, 20%. It's just whatever you want to. It's not a cut and dried. It's whatever you want to bring it down to.
But in that sense, you just what you want to put in like 50%, 30%. Because that data should be coming from certain calculation and much be objective instead of subjective.
Okay. All right. No, it's subjective because you're sitting at your house and your computer risk analysis gives you 55%. You don't like that. Wouldn't you like to have 5% risk? Okay, you write 5%. Why should anybody tell you what to do? And if you look at the 5%, you find that enormous amount of money you have to spend. Well, if you can't bring the cost down and the companies will not cater for you, then you go for a lesser percent, like 20%. It's like this. There are a lot of people who are trying to lose weight, right? And can they go from all the way like 300 pounds down to 150? No, they go step by step. It's just like that. And so nobody will tell you how much weight you want to lose except yourself. So it's according to your resources, money, and others and limitations, you will decide for you, yourself. Maybe I was not able to make this clear at the beginning, but this is a kind of a input that you yourself or the bank, if the bank wants to reduce it from 30% down to 10%, the bank will decide what to do. Okay. What we put at the very beginning is customer guess, customer wish. It just automatically carries it, 50 or 30. Right. I hope I've been able to answer this.
A little follow-on question to that. Have you thought about, so this is based on, the percent, the likelihood of a particular event happening, or a particular adverse event happening, that percent.
Okay, likelihood. Yes, there's a probability law happening here. That we have a probability. We have the law of probability here from the beginning to the end as master. Like you always hear probability of you have the law, force of law in the parliament. But here, we have probabilistic laws working for you.
Yes.
Sure. Your input data, whatever you put in, numerical data, are going to make your results more reliable than if you didn't put good data in.
Yes.
However, if you have no data, like none of these numbers that I showed in the first three radio buttons, then I will start asking questions. Well, the program will start asking questions. And based on your data that the program extracts from your own heart, just like you go to orthopedist doctor, he asks you about 30, 40 questions about your backache, right? And then he looks at those questions and he decides what to do about it on top of some of the blood work or X-ray or whatever, MRI. So X-rays and MRIs are like here, like the numerical data, and all the information you give from yourself to the doctor to let your problem known is the verbal part. So, and if you don't have any numerical, the doctor will ask you, what do you have? When did it start? And you know, that kind of a simile. I'm making a simile. So this is the whole idea. Yes, it is probabilistic. It's better than being deterministic, because at least here there's an objectivity that's ruling the whole entire operation. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, well, I'd like to thank the speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And